Devodanadaya Sunanda Nanda Sisranya Ye Chanye Satvatara Sava Api Swasti Asate Sare Rama Krishna Mujasraya Api Smaranti Kusvalam Asmakam Buddha Sorada
Tathaiva nuchara saure Sutta devo davadaya Sunanda nanda shri sadya Yechanye sattvatar sabaha Abhi swasti astarya sarve Rama Krishna Bhujashraya Abhi smaranti kushalam Asmakam bada saurada
Also, Struktadeva, Uddhava and others, Nanda, Sunanda, and other leaders of liberated souls who are constant companions of the Lord are protected by Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna. Are they all doing well in their respective functions? Do they, who are all eternally bound in friendship with you, remember our welfare? Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The constant companions of Lord Krishna, such as Uddhava, are all liberated souls, and they descended along with Lord Krishna to this material world to fulfill the mission of the Lord. The Pandavas are also liberated souls who descended along with Lord Krishna to serve him in his transcendental pastimes on this earth. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord and his eternal associates, who are all liberated souls like the Lord, come down on this earth at certain intervals. The Lord remembers them all, but his associates, although liberated souls, forget due to their being tatastha shakti, or marginal potency of the Lord. That is the difference between Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva. The Jiva Tattvas are infinitesimal potential particles of the Lord, and therefore they require the protection of the Lord at all times. And to the eternal servitors of the Lord is pleased to give all protection at all times. The liberated souls never therefore think themselves as free as the Lord or as powerful as the Lord, but they always seek the protection of the Lord in all circumstances, both in the material world and in the spiritual world. The dependence of the liberated soul is constitutional, for the liberated souls are like sparks of a fire that are able to exhibit the glow of fire along with the fire, but not independently. Independently, the glow of the sparks is extinguished, although the quality of fire or the glowing is there. Thus, those who give up the protection of the Lord and become so-called lords themselves out of spiritual ignorance come back again to this material world, even after prolonged tapasya of the severest type. This is the verdict of all Vedic scriptures. Om Janatarandasya Janatana Savakaya Chakshuralikanina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this verse, in Prabhupada's explanation, this verse actually is talking about the associates of Lord Krishna, the eternal associates of Lord Krishna. Nityavada. They've been with him in every incarnation. They come again when Lord Chaitanya was manifested on this earth also. So they're talking about his eternal associates. We are aspiring to be his eternal associates. We're performing the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sankirtan Yajna, to the best of our ability, And in so many ways, we're spreading Krishna consciousness around this world. But the eternal associates get to be with Krishna on whatever planet he is in the material universe. This is what our goal is also. We want to be with Krishna in his Leela. When advanced Uttama Adhikar souls leave their body, like Srila Prabhupada, they get the opportunity to join him in his eternal pastimes. But they set a path for us to also follow them into the eternal pastimes. We shouldn't lose hope. We should always be positive. We will follow our gurus into the spiritual world also. This is written in the scriptures as well. And this is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. He came to give Krishna Bhakti. He came to give Krishna Prema through the medium of Harinama. So I cannot underestimate, I cannot overestimate how important it is to chant every day. Everyone must chant the names of Krishna every day. Everyone can't chant the same amount. Some people can chant 64, some people can chant 32, some people can chant 16. Actually, Prabhupada said everyone must chant 16. But some people can't even do that, especially if they're businessmen or they're grihastas, they're living outside. But you must chant every day. Without chanting, there's no possibility of escaping the net of material illusion that is totally controlled by mind. I hope all you grihasta people are following Ekadashi. Are you all following Ekadashi?
Yes.
And are you too? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes. No. You got to plan. Ekadashi is very important because all the sins of the world go into the grains on this day. And so you have to protect yourself, protect your family members, protect your loved ones by following Ekadashi. The whole family should follow. Because if you have Thakurji at home, most Indians have Gopal at home. So you have to offer him food. So you just must think a little bit. Just pay a little attention. It's only 2 times a month. So there, in this purport Srila Prabhupada gave, he's talking about the difference between Nitya Siddha and Bada Siddha. The difference between the liberated devotees and the bound devotees. Okay? Now the liberated for us is different from liberated from the normal Hindu conception. Because we don't care about liberation. Vaishnavas do not care about liberation. Moksha, mukti, that doesn't mean anything to us. Because how does it serve? What is its purpose? Does it have a purpose? No, it's just an individual desire. I want to get out the material world. Many people don't even want to get out the material world. They just want to go to the Svarga Loka and enjoy. In Svarga you have full health, full vitality, full beauty, full opulence, and you can just enjoy your whole life. But devotees never want to go to Svarga. And devotees never want mukti or moksha. We want bhakti. Bhakti is the panacea. Bhakti is the highest, paramount. So we want bhakti. We want service to the Vaishnavas, service to Thakurji, service to the deities, service to the Mahaprabhu's movement. Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago. He came for one reason, to liberate the whole planet. Everybody, regardless of qualification. And so that's how we're giving it. We're giving this Harinam to everyone. We're doing Ratha Yatras all over the world. We're distributing books all over the world. We've distributed 900 million books altogether. That's almost 1 billion, Many people are benefited. But we just must continue. We can't say, oh yes, we've done now. We can slow down. We cannot slow down because Kali is not slowing down. Kali is in fact roaring, but most devotees can't hear it. He's roaring, he's beating his chest. Just look at how this world has become so degraded just since we were children. Kali's roaring. You have to wake up. Don't think that Kali is asleep. He's roaring, and he's getting bigger and stronger every day. So the thing that stops him in Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. Sankirtan is whenever we can do it, however we can do it, we must do this. It purifies the air, it purifies the earth, it purifies the ground, it purifies the trees and all the people. Also, the devotees at least who are wearing dhotis and devotional clothes, you should wear tilak, you know? Because this purifies people too. As soon as people see the tilak, I always go through travel like this. I get the warmest responses, like when I'm in passport control, you know, or I'm going through customs, you know. Mostly they're saying, where have you Hare Krishnas been? Because, you know, most devotees dress in karmi clothes when they travel now. And so we're almost forgotten. I went to the Paris airport, and the customs man said, I said, do you want to check my stuff? He says, no, you can go through. And he said, where have you people been? I said, what people? He says, what's your name? He couldn't even remember that we're Hare Krishnas. You know, this is in Paris. He hadn't seen us in so long, he forgot, you know. People should not forget us, you know. We're the only thing that's keeping this planet sane and stable. Huh? So many crazy things are going on. Take pride in being a Vaishnava. Take pride in your Hindu culture. Take pride in what we're trying to do, spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Because who knows what the next generation will have to face. Already we don't even have fresh air and water. You know, everybody's buying water across the planet. Everybody. When I was a boy, you didn't have to ever buy water. It was unheard of. Nobody's going to waste money to buy water when you have good water to drink. But today, everybody's buying water in every country of the world. You know. So just understand, Kali is doing his degradation show very rapidly. And you know, you have to be awake, you have to have your eyes open. And you have to stay connected. Stay connected to Krishna consciousness. It's nice to see all you Indians here so early in the morning. And you know, to take advantage of the temple facilities and hear Harikatha and see deity worship and take Mahaprasad. That's very good to see this, you know. So don't give that up. So anyway, Prabhupada's talking about, dependence of the jiva on Paramatma and Purusha. Basically, dependent of the jiva on the Lord. We should always feel that we are under the protection of the Lord. No matter what happens, you know, the Lord, Bhagavan is in charge of everything. Krishna is in charge of everything, whether you realize it or not. Even if you stub your toe. There's a famous story about stubbing toes. I'll tell that right now. It's so good. So every devotee knows if they make a mistake, like especially around the deities, you're going to stub your toe. It's happened, you know, for hundreds of times, and it really hurts. And it doesn't last for one day; it lasts for 2 or 3 days, so you remember, you know. And so, but there's a famous story about this. There was once a king and his minister that were really bosom buddies, but still the king is the king and the minister is the minister. And so the king said, let's go out hunting today. Because the kings in those days, they used to have to cull the animals in the forest if they got too populous like that. So he and his minister went out. So they went out and they went to the forest and they started looking for animals to cull. So while the king was walking, he was talking, and then he bumped his toe on a stone. And he said, oh, like that. And he says, why is this happening? How are we going to hunt? The minister said, whatever happens is for the best, you know? So of course the king didn't like to hear that. He's thinking, well, that might be okay for ordinary people, but I'm the king. You know, I shouldn't have to suffer a stubbed toe, especially when I'm protecting the kingdom. So the minister said, no, everything's always for the best. And then he said, how can you say that? My stubbing my toe is not for the best. How can you say such a thing? He said, okay, Bhagavan's in control of everything. So then the king started thinking, this minister is not as loyal as I thought he was. You know? He wouldn't even, I just wanted some kind words for him, and he has to tell me everything's for the best, which means it's my fault that it happened. And he started thinking like that. So they walked a little further, and when they were sometimes in India in the forest, there's these wells that are covered by grass. And so the minister was looking around at the beautiful setting, and he slipped and slid down into a well, which is about maybe, 15 feet high. And he wasn't able to climb out. And so the king looked down at him and says, you see, everything's for the best. He said, do you still think that's true? And the minister said, yes, for sure, everything's for the best. So then the king was thinking, you need to be taught a lesson. He said, okay, if everything's for the best and you stay here, I'll go continue hunting, and I'll come back and get you when I come back. So then he left. So he was walking through the forest, and he was being tracked by some devotees of Kali. And they were actually looking for someone to sacrifice to Mother Kali. So they said, oh, this looks like a royal person. Kali will be very pleased with him. And look at all the gold and jewelry he has on his body. So they were thinking, yes, we will take him. So they came out the woods, they captured him, and they brought him back to the sacrificial altar where they were going to sacrifice him. So meanwhile, the whoever was doing the puja for this came out, and he said, okay, bathe the body and, put oil on his body, and then we'll present it to Mother Kali, and then we'll take his life. So then when they were bathing his body, they noticed that his toe was cut. And you can't offer anything to Kali if there's anything wrong with the body. So then they said, oh, Puri, we can't use this person. His body's wounded. He said, where? And they came and they saw the cut on the toe. He said, no, Kali will not accept. Let him go. So they threw him out. They said, we'll have to find an animal today to do it instead. So then the king was thinking, oh, what my minister said was true. Everything is for the best, because otherwise I would have been finished. So then he quickly went back to the well where the minister was and said, you're right, my minister, I'll never doubt you again. And he pulled him out. He said, forgive me, forgive me. The minister said, forgive you for what, Your Highness? He said, forgive me for doubting you. What you said, everything is for the best, is certainly true. It was certainly true for me, but I still can't understand how it was true for you by falling in the well. Then the minister said, well, I can. You got rejected because your body was injured, but my body's in perfect health. They would have definitely sacrificed me if I hadn't fell in this well. So like I said, everything's for the best, okay? So this is just like a little story. I know Indians like to hear stories, leelas, so I'm telling it. But it's appropriate too, because if you think that everything's for the best, and if you think Bhagawan's always in control, well, then you'll have the right mentality to go through this life, We're not intentionally making mistakes, but mistakes are sometimes made. And then you have past karma too, where there's some things you might have to clear up. And so you might have some adversity in life. But this adversity never destroys the faith of a real devotee. He said, okay, Krishna, maybe I made a mistake. Krishna's going to give us anyway the minimum punishment. He's not going to give the maximum, because you have to go through your karma, so you can advance. We see in the scriptures there's a process in devotional service. It begins with Shraddha, faith. Faith that Bhagavan will protect me. Faith that Bhagavan is Varaha Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. That Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We have faith. And that faith we just have. No one can give you faith. Either you have it or you don't. And it can't be faked either. So that's the first thing, Shraddha. The next thing is Sadhu Sangha. That means you hear from a devotee that knows more than you. Because if he doesn't know more than you, it's not going to help you. He'll just be telling you the same things you would be telling him. So that knows more than you, and also knows the conclusions of some things that you don't know, so that you can make advancement. So then after Sadhu Sangha, these teachings that you heard from the Guru, the spiritual master, and advanced devotee, you must practice in your own life. So that's called Bhajana Kriya. If you don't incorporate these things into your own life, you're not going to make any advancement. So you have to do this. You have to be strict about some things, and Ekadashi is one of those things you have to be strict about. You also must have like a contract with the Lord. You must say, okay, I can't chant this many rounds a day, but I can chant this many. And I'll do it every day. And you should do that, It's between you and the Lord. Nobody else is monitoring you, we know, all of us devotees, we know that we have to chant a minimum of 16 rounds. And so if a devotee only does 12 rounds one day, he has to do 20 the next day to make up for it. We all know this, but we try not to do that. We try to finish so you don't get double time. So in this way, so that's the next, Bhajana Kriya. You must take the care and time to incorporate these teachings, to incorporate Bhagavad Gita also into your lives. Then after Vajna Kriya comes the really big ocean of Anartha Nivritti. We all have millions of unwanted desires that we have to clear up. Or maybe it's thousands, okay, maybe it's only thousands. Or maybe it's only hundreds, but we have a lot. And you have to do your homework. You have to clear those. You know, they could even come from when you were a child. They could even come when you were in the womb of your mother even. Like we tell all devotees when the wife gets pregnant, from the 7th month on, she should read Bhagavad Gita. Because whatever the mother understands, the child will understand from the 7th, 8th, 9th month, you know. So in this way, the child gets a head start. Because while in the womb, the child, the infant, the fetus already sees Krishna one time. One time he gets to see him. And then, of course, Prabhupada even writes it. He says, he promised Krishna, I won't forget you, I'll serve you in this life, protect me. All these beautiful things that we must say now in this body. But then when the trauma of childbirth is so great that when he comes out, everything's forgotten. That's why the first thing a child does when he comes out is cry. You know? The doctor strikes his bottom also, but that's to get him to take a deep breath so his lungs start working properly. But the first thing a baby comes out is crying. Because you know, it's like a dream, a beautiful dream you remember, and you say, oh, I gotta write this down when I wake up. But you wait just a few seconds too long, and that beautiful dream is gone. And you're lamenting the whole day. Why didn't I write it down right away? Because the dreams you have to write down right away, instantly, or it's gone, you know? So there's feelings like that. What's the time? They said I can't be over 8:45. 8:30. 8:30, 15 more minutes, okay. So I can take some questions. So in this way, you have to cultivate your Krishna consciousness, you know? You have to carefully cultivate that, your bhakti lata, you know? To make sure it has sufficient nutrients, it has sunshine and water. You have to develop this by the holistic process of practicing Krishna consciousness, you know? And once you get that rhythm going, it'll go for your whole life. You just have to establish it. Like chanting. All you have to do is stick your hands in the bead bag. Your fingers know what to do. But to get that hand in the bead bag is what people have trouble with. Once your hand's in there, you're going to chant. You know, the fingers can do it automatically. You know, no instructions are necessary. But the thing is to get in that bead bag, and as many times as possible. You know, because you know, the smart devotees finish their rounds before Guru Puja. You know, but those who aren't so smart, they're struggling. You know what I mean? That's why you see sometimes devotees 9 o'clock at night, because they want to finish. You know, you want to chant with affection, though. You know, there should be some affection for the name. We know in Scripture, Nam and Nami is the same. Krishna is the same as his name. There's no difference. We know it's in Scriptures, but we haven't realized it. You know, but we know it's true. So, you know, you want to have some affection for the name, because that means you have some affection for Krishna also. You know, there must be affection. Nothing really flourishes or blossoms without affection. You know, from even mundane love to deity worship, you know. You must have some affection, or you must try to develop some affection for all the things that we're doing in Krishna consciousness. It shouldn't be a chore. If it's a chore, you're way off the mark, you know. But anyway, if it's a chore, you do it. Because maybe, you know, in some future lifetime it won't be a chore. But, you know, you should try to understand that, you know, this is actually the best medicine that we can have. There's no better medicine. And it's like when we were kids, our mother used to give us medicine. Usually it was bitter. And so she has to put a little sweet in there so we take it when we were infants, you know. So Krishna says, it's bitter in the beginning, but it's like nectar in the end. And what appears to be sweet in the beginning is bitter at the end. So, I mean, all these things are put in various scriptures, Puranas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, to like keep us going on the right path and keep us happily going on the right path. You know, Krishna consciousness, how hard is Krishna consciousness? We got to chant 16 rounds a day, follow the 4 regulative principles, and follow Ekadashi. I mean, basically that's all. And in between, we eat as much Mahaprasad as we can get. We do Harinam Sankirtan. We talk to other people and enlighten them. I mean, it's actually a very pleasant experience, you know. But when you're a newbie, You know, when you don't know anything, it seems like, oh God, I got to get up at 4 o'clock to take a cold shower. I mean, you know, it sounds like that. But when you look at it, take a step back and look at it objectively, it's so easy, you know. I mean, there's never short of Rashada, you know. I saw this tape where Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, he got an honorary doctorate and PhD at Stanford. And in his speech, he thanked the Hare Krishnas for keeping him alive, you know. When he had no money, he used to collect Coke bottles and get the 2 cent or 5 cents deposit that you get with it to eat. But every Sunday he'd walk 7 miles to the Hare Krishna temple in Berkeley for the Sunday feast. And he said, I have to thank the Hare Krishnas. But we didn't even know. We could have gone to Steve Jobs probably and asked him for anything and he would have gave. 100%. If somebody thanks you, you know, like that publicly, you know, but we didn't know. Then I talked to some devotees, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He's like a bum, they said, you know, because he was like a bum. I mean, if you're collecting Coca-Cola bottles and cash them in, I mean, you know, you're really down straight. Anyway, just things like this. I mean, but we were acknowledged by somebody who was so, I mean, he molded the 20th century, actually. You got to look at it, you know. But he thanked us, which was great, you know. So in this way, you know, we influence people and we don't even know we influence them. Nobody knew, you know, until he said that speech, in the speech. Nobody, and then some old devotees who were there, they told me, yeah, I remember this guy. He used to come every Sunday, you know. And he'd eat voraciously, you know. Anyway, so the liberated beings and the non-liberated beings. We don't strive for mukti or moksha because it's already included within bhakti. Moksha is folded hands beside Bhakti Devi saying, can I serve you? She's asking the devotees, can I serve you? But we don't care about moksha or mukti Devi, you know? It's okay, but you do your service with others, but not with us. The Mayavadis, the impersonalists, the yogis. The yogis like to always go for liberation, you know? And they may get it, but they don't have bhakti. You know, you can get liberation without bhakti. You know, we don't care about liberation. So in this way, we just go through the bhakti line. You know, everything's devotion, exclusive devotion to Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, the Shingadev, whatever your Istadeva is, whatever deity you are attracted to, but not the demigods. There's no bhakti with the demigods. There's no bhakti with Ganesh. There's no bhakti with Lakshmi, because she's offended that you're not worshiping her husband along with her. You know, I mean, everybody's worshiping Lakshmi this, Lakshmi that, because she gives the money. All right, she gives the wealth, but she's fickle. She doesn't give it long, and if she gives it, you got to get it the exact right time to get it, or else it's gone. You know, but though we worship Lakshmi and her husband together, like there's Lakshmi Nishinga, for example. There's Lakshmi Varaha. You know, they're worshipped together. Then Lakshmi's pleased. She doesn't like to be worshipped without her husband. So the demigods, I mean, Ganesh gets rid of all obstacles, no doubt. Mahadev, Vaishnavanam Yasha Shambhu, he's the number one Vaishnava. We all respect him. And, you know, we worship him once a year on Shivaratri. We don't worship him every day. On Shivaratri, we do worship him, though, you know. And we worship him with the things he likes. He likes bale fruits, you know, because Krishna plays ball with bale fruits, so Shiva likes that. He likes the datura flower. That's one of his favorites. He likes to be watered with ganja water, and then ashes from the fire put on his body after the bath, you know. And so this is what he likes. But he's the number one Vaishnava, and we know this from many leelas that he had with Lord Krishna. And we also know it from the Goswamis. Sanatana Goswami used to always like to live near wherever Shiva was. And there's a famous story in Vrindaban, at Govardhan, Chakra Tirtha it's called. There's a beautiful, like 5 Shiva lingas there, and it's very famous temple of Shiva. And Sanatana Goswami used to live there and write his books. And the mosquitoes used to bite him so much at night that he said, I can't take it any longer, I have to leave this place. So when Shiva, in the form of Chakra of the Shiva Linga, heard Sanatana say this aloud, he immediately assumed the form of a Brahmin and came to him. And he said, Sanatan, it looks like you're packing up to go. Why are you leaving? He said, I just can't deal with these mosquitoes. So then he said, the Brahmin said, who is Shiva? Listen, I'll take care of the Lord Shiva. You just wait one more night. And if they're gone, if they don't go, then you can leave. Sanatan said, okay, I'll wait one more night. Because I actually like to be near wherever Shiva is. So then Shiva called the demigod in charge of mosquitoes. And he said, listen, there's a great devotee here. He's being harassed by your mosquitoes. Send them away elsewhere. And so even to this day at Chakratirtha, you very rarely see a mosquito. Because the demigods are doing their functions, like Vayu's in charge of water. Vayu's in charge of wind. Varuna's in charge of water. Agni's in charge of fire. These are positions like a company. You know, you have your service, you have your service. They all have their services. You know, but in this regard, Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. We all know that. You know, most of us don't have a relationship with Shiva because his tattva is mysterious. He goes through tantra, and so, but we don't need to. We just look at him, Vaishnavadam Yata Shambhu, the greatest Vaishnava. And like we won't have Shiva in our temples. We won't. But Yoga has a Shiva mandir. Gopishwar Mahadev, you know. Because Shiva protects the Dhams. He protects Jagannath Puri. He protects Vrindaban. He protects Navadip Dham. So in this way, he's worshipped and glorified by us. But we just don't worship him every day. That's all. So I don't want to go over the time. We got 4 minutes to go. If anybody has any questions, I can answer. Yes.
If there is, everything is controlled by the demigods and basically...
No. Everything's controlled by Bhagavan Sri Krishna.
Where's the free will? I mean, besides being desire, is basically the only thing that we have in our possession as an individual jiva. And everything is basically done for us by super soul.
Yeah, but we have no access to this super soul. See, we have no access to Paramatma. That's the thing. You see, there's 3 modes of material nature: Sattva-gun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. Basically, we're harassed by these 3 gunas. And those who can manage to crawl up to Sattva-gun, they have some shelter. But Rajagun and Tamagun is very, very difficult to keep the straight and narrow. But the thing is that human beings are the only beings on this planet that have free will. You know, Krishna gave us free will. Animals have free movement. They have free movement, but they don't have free will. They follow everything instinctually. So this free will is the critical point that separates us from the animals, and the critical point that gets us to allow to Krishna consciousness. You chose to be Krishna consciousness. You chose. Nobody forced you. By your own intelligence